Hey everyone, welcome to the P.A.D Leg Saver Hotline podcast. I'm Kim Nicholas. I'm with my good friend Douglas. And today we are going to be talking about just what it took to get diagnosed with a disease that's more prevalent and deadlier than most cancers combined. It is poor circulation in the legs. And you may say, oh, why do I care? But 3 in 5 people who suffer a heart attack have it. And if you're diagnosed early and people recognize that you have poor leg circulation, they then go, aha, I need to check your heart too. And they will know if you're at risk of a heart attack. So, really important to get tested. But, Douglas, you won't believe there's a new study that came out, and it was in the Journal of Internal Medicine or Journal for Internal Medicine and Journal of General Internal Medicine. And you're not going to believe the results, but it basically states that 5 in 6 people who have PAD don't even know they have it. I'm just shocked, but you're not shocked. I can tell you're not shocked because that happened to you. You had no idea until advanced stage that you had
It,
PAD, right?
the insanity.
I know, right?
I fell in a yard mowing a yard one day, and I thought to myself, maybe I need to see a doctor. So I went and saw a doctor. Then, believe it or not, um, and we hear this scenario a lot in the program. 2 stents, an aorta bifemoral bypass, an axial bifemoral bypass. And then I saw a doctor in Louisiana, and he goes, "Oh, Mr. Salisbury, you have PAD," and it's like, "Well, it's why?" So my initials are DCS too. What do you mean? It's like that was a little over 2 years later that I was,
Crazy.
and how many times have we heard this scenario in the program where they go to doctors, and how many doctors do we go to before they even take our shoes off or our socks and check our feet? And where does that lead? That leads to I hate to say this, but it leads to a lot of people going through that revolving door of surgery and surgery and
Yeah.
doctor until they find that right CLI fighter who says, wait a minute, time out. You know you have PAD, and we have the
Yeah.
technology. That sounds like the $6 Man. That reminds me of the $6 Man TV show every time I say that. We have the technology today to rebuild them. So it's
Yes.
like, here, I don't know if y'all remember that show, but I don't know why I just thought about that, but I did. But it's like we have the technology today to rebuild them. And we hear that today. And how many times do we hear they won't go through the foot because they don't believe in it? And all the stuff that we hear that our fellow PAD members and warriors go through till they get to that right CLI fighter and they get to us and they
Shouldn't even need to
we
get that far, right?
how many times do we have to say, did you get a second opinion? Did you get a second opinion? Because if I bring my truck to a paint shop, I'm going to get more than one opinion probably. If I bring it to an auto mechanic, I'm gonna get one more opinion. When I buy a tire, I get a few different opinions about what tire works on my truck the best. So why do we struggle with that with our doctors?
I know. And you know what? Honestly, we wouldn't even have to get to that point if we would just get diagnosed sooner versus later. And you might never need a procedure because there's so much that can be done conservatively with walking is medicine. You always talk about just put one foot in front of the other, walking is medicine, diet, smoking cessation, and mitigating other risk factors and making sure you're taking the right supplements to reduce inflammation. A lot of people now who end up with atherosclerosis or that plaque in the arteries, they have an autoimmune condition that is wreaking havoc on their body, and they need to get that under control to stall progression. Also,
I
clotting
do
disorders.
I do remember that, Kim, because it was a doctor out of Houma, Louisiana, He rolled across the room, put his hand on my knee, and he goes, "Mr. Salisbury, if you had seen me 2 years earlier, you probably wouldn't have not have had all these bypasses."
Yep,
And it's like,
exactly.
what bus did I miss? I must have got on the wrong bus somewhere because, hello, So it's like, he said, no, we have the technology. We could have done things back then. And so, how many times do you
Yeah.
hear that dealing with people from across the country, the UK, and all over the place?
What if that original doctor would have said, Mr. Salisbury, you have PAD. Let's start you on conservative therapy. Let's get you on some antiplatelet therapy. Let's get you on the statin. Let's get you to stop smoking. If you were smoking, let's get your diet in check and get you walking. Walking is the best medicine. You might never have needed any procedures at all.
And it was that same doctor. I remember that it was 5 hour drive from where I live to get to that doctor.
Yeah.
And he goes, "I'll see you tomorrow and get you something healthy to eat." And it was like, "I'm going to Whataburger." He said, "No, you're not." And it's like, "What do you mean?" Because that's the first time I heard a doctor say,
Yeah.
"What are you eating today?" And I was smoking off and on back then. Yes, I have quit, but I was smoking off and on back then. It wasn't steady, but it was. He's the first one that said, "Mr. Salisbury, you got to stop smoking." So 2 years before, I never heard this stuff. I never heard that three phrase word, walk, walk, walk. I never heard that. They never said nothing. That
I'm
same
curious,
doctor.
Douglas, you and Marcia, who's also in our live studio audience, make sure if you are watching on YouTube, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you want to be in our live studio audience, you can actually email info at padhelp.org. We'll get you in our live studio audience, which we have a lot in here right now. So we're going to get to everybody. Hopefully everyone's going to want to share and weigh in. And we want to get to some of your stories, but I'm curious, earlier today, we had nurse practitioner Deidre on our channel. Great video. Got to go watch it under the live section of our channel, where she talked about the new food pyramid. And I'm curious, Douglas, from your standpoint, and then maybe Marcia will weigh in. I think she's popping popcorn in the background there. So hopefully she'll hear this and she'll jump in either now or later to share. I'm just curious the thoughts on the new pyramid and what nurse practitioner Deidre has had to say.
Um, I saw a big thing. I saw a news report yesterday, and I watched it. It was about, and they talked, and we talked earlier today. We brought this up. How hard is that going to be to do today? Because we're going to deal with the money situation, and we talked about cereal earlier. Cereal is a mainstay of society. I hate to say it that way, but it is. Cereal is a mainstay of society.
Because it's
So
quick and easy.
how do we convince people to have a thing of protein in the morning instead of a bowl of Fruit Loops?
Well, you could choose a better one than Fruit Loops. Those aren't that's not the least expensive cereal available. I think Heinz earlier today, he was in our studio audience and he was talking about even was Raisin Bran. But I think what nurse practitioner Deidre was saying was, the processed, cereals, the more processed, the worse they are. But she did give us slight approval for oatmeal, especially if it's steel cut oats. And also, Douglas, I learned a recipe and quinoa is not that expensive. And you can actually make a hot cereal out of quinoa and apples with some cinnamon. And it's really delicious. And you can add just a little bit of milk to it. Or for those that don't drink milk, you can add a little bit of walnut milk or cashew milk. But that's an option as well. It's just getting used to something different. But you're right. It's a staple. I mean, that's a hard habit to break.
And the other part was, this guy last night was talking about, it's like you turn the whole thing upside down.
Yep.
and
Inverted.
and and how many and she talked about like the keto diet. That's becoming a mainstay, and it's like, all right, you can have that, but it's the same way as the other way. I hope this comes out right, but it's okay to have a hamburger once a year, but if I have a hamburger every night, well, then I have issues. So it's learning to cook now because I miss my fish. I love fish, and
Right. And now you
learning
can have as much
the
fish as you want.
yeah, and so and it's like the olive oil stuff. How many of us like olive oil, but we never thought about the date on the olive oil? So
Yeah.
this new pyramid stuff is we're going to all have to learn again a little bit to change those in between what we do and what we don't like. So it is going to be a process of learning again.
We really need to um have the conversation, and we talked about it with her about one, it's hard to make the changes, but two, you need to make high quality changes is the issue. So where are you gonna, if you have the money, how do you budget? Where do you end up saying, okay, we can cut corners here and get the least expensive product here, but here we cannot cut corners. And there are two places that you really cannot cut corners, and one is with your meat, and two is with your olive oil. If you want to do fish, you can actually do even Dr. Danziger says there are some of the healthy fishes is right there in a can. You have to pick and choose which cans you're going to get. But he said actually the least expensive tuna, the whole tuna, is actually better than some of the more expensive brands.
But how
I thought
many
that was
people?
interesting.
Yeah, how many people saw this new pyramid? And it was. I think it was brought up earlier. Oh man, I can have steak now every day.
And see, that's what they're reporting out there. And that's where nurse practitioner Deidre says, oh, no, 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 no. The stake was, positioned where it was simply because it was the best place as they were trying to create a really nice diagram and fit things in. Their whole thing is protein at the top. Make sure it's a healthy protein, make sure it's lean meat if you're going to have lean meat. Um, have a variety. She said that the thing is that the protein, people are not getting enough protein, and you need to have anywhere between 90 and 90 grams, I think it is. Maybe Josh, Douglas,
It
was
was
that right?
90.
90 grams to
Doctor, yeah,
100
it was
grams. Yeah.
Doctor Phillips brought that up. He said
And he
he
did
was
too.
struggling. He did. He said he was struggling a little bit to figure out how to get 90 grams a day now. But he says
I
that's
I
ultimate.
I
What's that,
do a
Thomas?
hundred I do
Hi, Thomas.
120 grams a day of protein.
So where do you get it from?
Um, Not potatoes,
Potatoes have
um,
protein? I didn't know that.
milk, tuna.
So if
Um,
we take, what about? So you said milk, regular
Milk,
milk.
yeah, milk, low
Uh,
fat, high fat, whatever. Um,
okay.
there's
Potatoes have
protein
3 to 4
in,
grams of protein, so it does. I didn't know that.
yeah, with milk, a glass of milk. There's 6 ounces of protein in it. You can have a poached egg. There's 6 grams of protein in that. A 5 ounce can of tuna in water, you've got 20 grams from that.
Do
Yep.
you put anything with that,
Huh?
or is it just straight up tuna?
No, it's just straight up tuna. I don't like seafood, but I'll eat canned tuna and canned salmon. But I always
Okay.
check there's no added salt or anything else like that in it. And I found a good one. It's a bit more expensive, but it's called Safe Catch. There's
Okay,
no
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, no additives in it. And it's
We
got
have that here
40
too.
grams of protein. But it's hard. When I first started, like trying to eat a lot of protein, I couldn't do it. It was because it involved so much food that I thought at the time, but it don't. You just got to balance it out. Sometimes I get up to like maybe 90 grams of it. Sometimes I get up to 160 grams,
Well,
depending, you know.
it can be hard on your kidneys if you get too much protein as well. So you do
Yeah,
have to balance it out.
but you see, they say some people say it's a gram per pound of weight, and you can go up to like I think it's 1.4 or 1.5 grams per pound. more so if you're going to the gym because you need protein. You need protein synthesis. I think
Yeah.
it's called.
Yeah, if you're
So
working out a
you
lot.
yeah. So it's but like I think it was Josh who was on about protein last week, and it's like you can up to 70% of your body weight is good. You know.
And Thomas, think about that is I think Kim said it a minute ago, and that's what we have to remember. Finding the balance
Yeah.
Yeah.
is a real big deal because so with what you just said, take away 4 ounces because Kim's lactose tolerant. She can't have milk. So that protein has to come from somewhere else.
Right.
And
It's
Hey
how many
Thomas,
hard.
I have a good recipe for you. If you blend walnuts in a blender, or you could
Yeah.
use milk. You can use milk.
Yeah.
And you heat it up and then put some garlic in there and add a little bit of nutritional yeast in there, just a little bit, and then put the tuna in, add in some mushrooms, chop up some
Oh no, I
mushrooms,
don't
put
eat
it in there.
mushrooms. I don't
Okay,
eat
then don't
mushrooms.
use the mushrooms. Add a little bit of spinach, frozen spinach in there. Okay. You're gonna love this. And then just let it simmer with the tuna. And you can put in pepper and more garlic and um I even have used our producer Josh's favorite Old Bay seasoning. I actually put in there. It can make any seafood taste good, and he also puts it on chicken wings when he puts them in the air fryer. So good little trick.
Right.
That didn't come from me,
Yeah.
but great tip from Josh. Um, and then you can put that over some zucchini noodles. And it makes for a really good meal, great hearty meal. And the other thing I do with the canned tuna is you can chop up some green onions and chop up some
Yeah.
celery, and then you add a little bit of mayo, or instead of mayo, if you don't want to use mayo, you can actually mix it with Dijon mustard. And
Well,
you can
mayo and
mm,
mustard. I don't eat none
ins-
of them.
well, instead of mayo, you can put mustard in there and you can mix it up. But you can also use just a little bit of vinegar and olive oil
Yeah.
and do the same thing and
Yeah.
make the salad.
Yeah. That's what I do. Even with canned salmon, and tuna, I always add a little bit of vinegar to it. It just takes the edge off of that fishy.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
so so think about what we just heard. I want to jump in. Think about this. Think about what we just heard. How many different directions we went there, didn't we? And how many of us out here, how many people don't like tuna? So what are they going to substitute? And we have a new food pyramid now that adds more protein to it than it was before. I hope I got that right because that's what they were talking about on that TV
I
show.
think she said they doubled it. They doubled the
Yeah.
amount of protein they think that we should be eating on a daily basis.
And it's like the milk. I heard today they're going to start putting the milk back into the schools for the
Well, see
kids.
that we used to
Yeah,
have milk
I'm
at school too.
I'm thinking that I mean, I drank milk all growing up. But I think his nurse practitioner Deidre was saying that the A2 milk, a lot of the milk these days are genetically modified. And so that's where I have the issue. And so I would still say be careful because I mean, I had milk every day. I was almost embarrassed because 6th through 8th grade, everyone else had the little fruit boxes. And my mom was still giving me the thermos of milk that I would bring to school every single day. And by the time lunchtime would go around, the milk wasn't quite chilled as it would be getting it right out of the fridge, but I still would drink it because she said it was good for me.
We
But,
grew up drinking milk. I was raised
right?
Southern, and we grew up drinking milk.
Yeah.
We went through gallons and gallons of milk. It was nothing to get up at 2 o'clock, not have a glass of water, go in and pour you a glass of milk, bring that back to the bed, and have another glass of milk. So it is that.
Oh, Oreos dipped in milk.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, so having to
I don't do
change.
that anymore. I
Of
can't do
course
milk,
not.
so it's not even
No.
worth it.
No, it's bad
And
for us. There's too much sugar in it.
Oh my gosh, I don't even think I can name more than 1 or 2 ingredients on an Oreo package. anymore. And Mark Hyman, who is a renowned nutritional doctor, he just came out and he showed that the sugar-free Oreos are worse than eating sugar because there's so many chemicals in it. He's like, I didn't even recognize half of what was in there. So everyone has to read the labels. And again,
You,
they talked about eating around the perimeter of the store, right? One ingredient, one ingredient.
but you brought up
Well, and
two
you have to watch.
ideas there. What's that, Beth? Go ahead.
You kind of have to watch that because a lot of your like low fat and your sugar free items actually have more sugar in it and stuff than what the regular. So say you want to go and get a fat free salad dressing, okay? And if you're counting carbs, your carbs is going to be right up there with a regular salad dressing. So you've really got to watch those labels. I had to learn all this when I was 15 years old. So it's kind of stayed with me because I'm being
Sa-
type 1 diabetic.
Isn't that the same way with like the sodium? You got to be careful with the sodium because if you're not thinking about it, that sodium in that bottle is going to be sky high and it's going to be,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
crazy.
Yep.
So it is that. And she brought up two ideas with the meat that is now being manufactured in a plant.
Yeah. You're
Do I
still not
really?
going to get me to buy into that. You're just not. I know those companies are going to hate me, but
Eh,
you're not going to get me to buy into lab grown meat, lab grown fish. I don't care if it comes from a cell. Just because it walks like a duck and talks like a duck doesn't mean it's a duck. Did I say that right, Douglas?
If I want a cow, I want a cow. If I want a burger, I want a real burger. I don't want,
yeah.
and they they had that thing the other day about those little monomites they're putting in people now to go in and videotape. And knowing my luck, they would put it in there and it would rebel and then go all over kind of places in my body, cause it chaos. I don't. So it's the same thing. Yeah, I don't really. I want my food to be. She talked about going back to what our ancestors ate, food, without all
Whole
the
food.
stuff that we put in it. And but I don't. Here's a question about that. You think about this, y'all. If some of it has to be done, doesn't it? Because we can't eat like that today with our lifestyles. I hope that
It's
makes
really
sense to
hard.
y'all.
Yeah, it can be hard.
Because I I work 8 hours a day. I got two kids and a wife and that, but I can't go out and hunt a chicken that is eating natural stuff out there and then come home, pluck it, skin it, cook it, and all of that. So I go to the store and I have to buy the best chicken that I can that is healthy for me in a package. I hope that y'all know what I'm trying to get to there. So it is hard today. And Dollar General, my Dollar General store here, if you're not standing there when they deliver the fruit, you're just out of luck. Period.
I'm
It,
I'm curious what
it,
Marcia thinks. I know I started to bring her in as well, but she was there earlier when we had that conversation with nurse practitioner Deidre. And in fact, prior to us broadcasting on here, one of the things that nurse practitioner Deidre talked about that she was so excited about was the gut health. And on page 2 of the new food guidelines, Marcia, they talked about gut health and the importance of the microbiome. And we talked about fermented foods, right? So
Yes.
you showed us something that you have in your cupboard that she said
Yeah.
was something to get.
And I typically do not like fermented fruit foods at all. Like I don't like my girlfriend makes pickled green beans and pickled eggs and pickled and it just grosses me out. Same with sauerkraut. Don't like it. But the miso I have I really did enjoy.
and miso is fermented, and I can put it in dishes that I make, so it's in there and it's good for gut health. Um, and it's so easy to use.
Marcia, can real quick, can you, for somebody that may not understand what you're saying about fermented, is there kind of, can you give us a little description about what that means?
Well, fermented foods was started way back in the old days before refrigeration. So, people would grow vegetables in the summer, but they didn't have a way to keep them fresh, so they would ferment them as a preservation. So if you
Okay.
can things or add vinegar to things and let it ferment, it is good for gut health. I mean, I personally just don't like it, but I think that's how it all started. Is they were making their cabbage. It wasn't like, oh, let's see how we can make cabbage taste different. I think it was, how can we make cabbage last throughout the year?
Yep.
Am I wrong? If anybody can correct me on that.
I don't have the history of it. I do want to mention though that miso, so it can be created by fermenting soybeans, barley, or brown rice with koji. But how do you know? Does it say on the back of yours
Yeah,
what it's made from? Because
yeah.
the natto is the fermented soybeans only, and that's where you get the nattokinase. And they say that nattokinase is really great for your heart health.
So there
Can
are
we
two
see a
kinds of,
picture of it?
yeah. You'll have to hang on while I go get it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So there are two kinds of miso. I did a little research on it, and I'm not an expert, so I hope I'm not incorrect. But I know there are two kinds of miso: the red and the white. Red is more robust in flavor and body and everything, where white has a little bit sweeter taste. And actually, I went for a Christmas dinner with a girlfriend to a restaurant, and they had miso. Oh, something, it was kind of in a cream sauce or whatever, but it had white miso, and we asked if we could just have a little sample of it. We were just curious as to what it was. So I'll
Yeah.
turn on my camera and show you. And miso can come in different kinds of packages, but I'll show you what this one is.
Because I
And
never
then,
heard of it before today. I never heard
yeah.
of that.
Okay, so this is one way you can buy miso. I think sometimes it might be in
Oh.
a packet or something, or a jar,
So
but this is a tub, and it's red. Let me get a knife or
it's
something.
interesting because, okay, so I'm looking at this. So miso here and the what I'm is it says it's soybean paste,
Right.
and
It's thick.
natto is fermented soybeans, but I still think isn't miso is, yeah, it's fermented paste. So the difference
Right.
between actual natto and miso is they're just ground up.
So this one says the ingredients are water, organic soybeans, organic rice. It does have the rice in it, Kim. Salt, yeast,
Okay.
koji culture, and it's Japanese. It has, let's see, a tablespoon, and you don't eat this like you would peanut butter. You're not like a tablespoon will last a long way. But I'm going to show you the consistency of it. This is real thick, like it sticks on my knife, and it smells. To me, it smells good. They say it's a unami. Unami, is that how you say it? Do you guys know what unami is in cooking? Unami is truffles have unami. So you have your
Umami.
unami.
Umami.
UNAMI. Unami. Yes, you have like sweet, sour, salty. What are the other taste
Umami.
buds things? Um, but anyway, they say truffles is a
I think it's
umami. It's not any of those. It's a flavor that isn't like, it's not sweet, it's not salty. It just is what it is, and it's hard to
it's
come.
UMAMI.
Umami, yes.
Yeah.
And anyway, they say this is that. In other words, it has a flavor that's kind of not describable, but it makes other things especially really
So,
good.
so
And
you add
so,
that to your food?
yeah, so what I did, what I've done a few times, like I made chili and I put some in, I made stir fries, and I thinned it out because it's so thick. I thinned it out. I put, sometimes I put olive oil. I even used liquids, right? smoke. Just you want to water it down. Otherwise, it's just in a clump. So I did a stir fry vegetable night before last. I had leftovers tonight. And just, I kind of liquefied this and I put it in at the end. You don't want it could burn. So, you put it not in at the beginning. Now, if you're putting it in a soup, you could put it in, in the beginning. But anyway, it's really is a flavor enhancement and it's good. And the Japanese know what they're doing when it comes to food. I can tell you that.
Can you tell a difference when it's in there, or?
Yeah. I mean, it just no, it's not like for me. Now, if I was eating miso soup, I would be able to tell. But if you have other bold flavors, this is a bolder flavor. The red is bolder than white miso. It just makes it better. I can't even. This one kind of has a salty, although it doesn't. It doesn't have salt as an ingredient. Oh, yes, it does, but it's not one of the main things. To me, it's a little bit salty. It's just, I don't know, it's good. It's very good. This
Cool.
is way too much. It's unpasteurized. So this big tub, I'll end up throwing it away. It's too big. So if you live alone and you get a big tub like this, you probably will not use it all. So I would say get the smaller amount, but this is what I found the day I was looking for it. And it simply says red miso on it. They did
And I
have
bet that
packets.
is so good with that rice liquid smoke. I bet that is. Oh man,
Well,
I bet that is.
sometimes Douglas, I did that because I was in a hurry. I wouldn't recommend it because the liquid smoke is going to be so flavorful it could overpower this. Like,
Okay.
they're
Yeah, it
working
might be an
against
either
each
or.
other. Yeah, but I was just trying to thin it down, so I grabbed some. I don't really recommend it. If I had
Okay.
thought more about how I could thin it down, I didn't want to put it in kind of uh, a dry pan and just have it burn. So I
Can
was
you
trying.
freeze
You can just
that?
put one. Hmm?
Can
What's
you
that?
freeze that?
I don't know. I would have to Google that. It doesn't say. It says certified organic. I don't know if you could. That's a good question, though, Beth. It says it's
Yeah.
gluten free, organic.
Yeah, it
I'm not
says you
really
can
sure.
freeze it. It says it stays pretty malleable when frozen, so it
Well, maybe
allows you
that's
to
what
take
it
out
was.
only what you need. I would imagine you could
There you
actually
go.
separate it into ice cube trays and put them in the freezer and
And
just take
so
out
if
and put.
right, if I was making soup, I would probably put, well, it depends on how big of a batch, but probably one or two ice cubes, like a regular big size ice cube in it. So that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And
That
Anyway,
you
is
know
a
what
really good
that?
try it.
idea.
Yeah,
Hmm?
and that brings up that other idea, Kim. We heard the word flour because when I heard
Yeah.
that today, I'm thinking to myself, now how the hell am I going to learn how to do it? Because I was raised Southern, and you put a flour cooked with everything. Period. You cook
Yep.
flour with everything, but now I'm told no flour. So
And what
how the
did
hell do I
right?
cook? How the hell do I cook now if I can't use flour?
So you know what
Why
you do is
why
you
can
get
you
a
use
little bit of
flour?
arrowroot. So get arrowroot. Arrowroot is a thickener and it's a natural thickener. So I
So
use
tell
that or a little
Thomas.
bit of xanthan gum. What?
Thomas says, why can't he use flour?
She said it was bad. It was actually now at the bottom of the pyramid. So it's processed and refined and
Yeah,
so
but what I'm
it's
thinking is though, if right,
what?
you can eat rice and stuff like that, and you can make rice flour.
She doesn't. So rice is incredibly high glycemic. So a lot
Yeah.
of the patients end up with sugar issues
Ah,
because of
I
rice.
got you. I got you.
And
So
that's
instead of
Kim. Oh, I'm
rice, they
sorry. That's
use
why you said
cauliflowered rice.
it turned the pyramid upside down, didn't it?
He did. And
It
Are
she
you
kind of
said
saying
only
did.
whole
talking
grains.
about the
So
pyramid? They I had a when I had my when my LED completely blocked 200%. That's what they told me, and it was on the curve. Um, I first asked. I said, "Did I eat too much bacon?" too much pork? He said no. He said they didn't know how it happened. There was no there was no blood clots in it. There was no, I've forgotten the name of the stuff that gets in your plaque. It just sucked
Mm-hmm.
closed. And he told me, my Indian doctor I had at the time, he kept telling me, not so much beef, not so much pork. Don't eat this, don't eat that. But I still don't understand. They tell me one thing, not to eat so much pork. Don't eat pork, it's full of fat. Then it's don't eat beef. What about chicken? Because it's not the actual meat, it's how you cook it.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten into the cooking of it. That's a really great point as
You
well.
know,
So we
that's the
should
thing,
do a
and that's
segment
what
on
I've
that.
always said. You
Yeah.
know,
They did talk about, between nurse practitioner Deidre and Dr. Michael Danziger this week, both talking about it. I think we also had diabetic educator Dr. Jean Chen talking about it as well this week. And all of them had the consensus that they do believe that it's about time that this food pyramid, the national guidelines actually reflect the evidence. And I thought that was interesting. And they do agree that we should not be going carnivore and we should not be going keto, that it's literally, there are all kinds of different proteins that you can use. But if you do choose meat, make sure it is lean, make sure the red meat is grass-fed, grass-finished. Even with chicken, you want to make sure it's free range and they're not being fed corn and grains and that kind of thing, because that can lead to inflammation. Making sure all of your fish is wild, because that you're going to get the most nutrients from that. You can have eggs. NP Deidre made it very clear today that the evidence shows that eggs do not cause high cholesterol. It's what's damaging your arteries, leading to your body's response to the damage to the arteries that ends up causing that type of buildup. So yeah, it's there are a lot of different options. She even talked about a handful of nuts is a really great option. So
And
there are lots of different proteins that you can incorporate. You even talked about them, Thomas, right? The different types of proteins, such a variety that's out there.
yeah, it's just really hard to like get your daily intake of them.
I
It's
know.
really hard because what I find, I'll do my protein shake, which is pure protein. It's like 40 grams, and then I'm not hungry for about 3, 4 hours later. So that to
Yeah.
me ain't no good for me. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to lose weight. I want to keep
Yeah.
my weight where it's at so I can go to the gym. So that really don't work for me. So, but
Well,
what they say to me is have some protein in the morning. Like when I have breakfast, I normally have rolled oats, Greek yogurt, and either some fruit, blueberries, or nuts, some kind of walnuts. You know, crushed walnuts.
walnuts are great. You want to talk about putting weight on?
Yeah,
Walnuts, walnuts will do it. And you know what? Try adding, if you need to gain some weight. Take some walnuts and put them in your blender before you do your protein shake. Put some walnuts in the blender and then put some water in it. And then I don't know if you make your protein shake yourself or if you use it, but then you can pour the protein shake in there and it adds extra calories. So that's a good
yeah,
way.
yeah. 'Cause I've done that with my protein shake,
Yeah.
but I use milk. Even with my
Okay.
walnuts, I use milk. You know, because
Okay.
it's got. I don't always use full fat milk, but if that's all that's available, the point is I'm burning it off at the gym. The only time with the full fat is if I want to bulk up for like a few days before the gym. Um, it gives me those extra calories. It gives me the extra protein and everything that I need. So, but
And
so
bread,
what
what
about
I what
avocado is a great source of fat and also can help with the calories.
I like avocados.
yeah,
I know, they're so good.
I like avocados.
But you
But
see,
they do. They have, they can add calories.
with bread, I don't eat a lot of bread.
You
I
don't have
don't
to put
like the
them with
bread
bread.
over here because there's
You
too
don't have
much
to have bread.
sugar and junk and everything else, and it's nasty. But I found one Nature's Own bread, wheat bread.
Well, they
It's
actually
whole.
said that you're lucky because bread is at the bottom of the pyramid, and they say no bread, no flour.
No,
If you're gonna do it,
they can
doctor,
say what they want about bread and what. No, I
yep,
grew up on bread and beef and lamb and everything else, and I was perfectly healthy. They took it all away, and now they're bringing it back. So then, you know, I think it's what you eat. You have to eat in moderation. If you go out and eat fried chicken every night, then yeah, you get issues,
yep.
or hamburgers every night or every day and stuff like that. Like eggs. I always told people the story, and I've posted it thousands of times. They did some research. A guy ate a dozen eggs a day for a week. They checked his cholesterol before it, and it was at a normal kind of range. He done 12 eggs for a week every day, boiled, poached, fried. Do you know that man's cholesterol actually come down?
Yes, that's interesting.
Yeah, I remember. So I'll have to find it. But yeah, I was surprised by it, and they were all telling me, "Don't eat eggs, don't eat eggs, don't eat eggs." I was like, "If I'm going to eat eggs, I'm going to eat eggs." You know,
Uh,
to me, it
uh,
depends on how you cook them.
did he turn into a chicken? A
No,
dozen eggs a
yeah,
day. That's a lot
well,
of
I
eggs.
don't know. I don't know. It didn't mention after it, but yeah,
There
I
is too
found
much
it
of a
really
good thing.
interesting. And
Everything in moderation, right,
How
Douglas? And
how
that's the
did he
emphasize.
answer? How did he answer that question? Quack, 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 quack. And
no,
Amaldo's got a great question too.
Imelda, what's your question?
Actually, I'm not sure which one you're looking at, but the one I started off with was I don't know how to make greens so that they taste good to me. I mean, I think greens are bitter and almost
Oh,
we
you
just
know what?
we
Southern
we just
greens.
steam
Look
them.
up a Southern greens recipe and you can make like a Southern green stew that's actually really good.
Yeah, but they
Marcia,
put
maybe
pork in
Marcia can
everything.
weigh in and Thomas can weigh in on making greens taste good. But I think Douglas even incorporates them into his soups. But Marcia, how do you make
I put
greens take good?
Are you talking greens like collards, like what
Kale,
kale? You know
spinach.
what? Okay, here's a way. I typically didn't think I liked kale. I just got the salad. It's called a superfood salad. It has quinoa. I don't know, or no, it didn't have quinoa. It had farro in it, which is a grain, but it had broccoli and kale and all chopped up real small. So think about taking like a spoonful of rice with other stuff. It's small. Everything's chopped small, but it had kind of larger pieces of kale in it. It was delicious,
Mm,
absolutely delicious. If you Google superfood salad, um, I'm sure there are different like dressings and things that you can put in it, but it would probably be like maybe apple cider vinegar and
yeah.
olive oil, something like that. I'm telling you what, that kale was so good. And then, of course, I love spinach. I don't know if you're thinking of, spinach as a green, but I do. I don't really eat collards. I found them to be very bitter, but maybe didn't, they weren't prepared right or something.
Do you know what I
if I
do is
do
I saute them. Go ahead, Douglas.
I was just going to say if I do a crock pot, one of my Instapots, it's got green beans, it's got broccoli, it's got spinach, but I put carrots because the carrots give me a variety. My mushrooms give me a variety, and I put them all together.
Yeah.
And if I have a salad, I don't. I I love kale today. I thought I never would like kale, but I do actually like kale today, and that's better in a salad than a regular. But when I use my greens, it's and I like spinach just straight out by itself. Just heat it up, and I'll eat it all day. I do green beans the same way.
and it's good raw. I love raw, spinach in my salads. Another thing, if you made any kind of vegetable soup or chicken and noodles or chicken noodle soup, I mean, you can hide things like kale in that and hardly even know it's
It's
in there.
true. That's
Uh-huh.
true. And I hide it in my smoothies as well.
There you go.
So it's a
Your
good way to do
kale.
it. But I do, yeah, I hide the kale and the spinach in there. But I also, and this is interesting, I possibly, and it never comes out the same every single time, but I'll saute some collard greens and some spinach and such in some, the Anfora Nueva, the extra virgin, hand picked, cold pressed, first harvest olive oil. I'll add a little bit of white balsamic that's been infused with apricot, and I will squeeze an orange into there, and then I take the pulp of the orange and I just kind of sprinkle it around for extra flavor. And I add
Mm-hmm.
some nutmeg, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of garlic, a little bit of sprinkled onion, and it's actually really good. So, and when you cook
It
it
sounds
down, it
good.
might be an option for you. Yeah, it really
And
is.
think
And you could
about
even cut up some
Amalda.
apple and put it in there.
Yeah, Amalda, think about that. A couple of weeks ago, I had black eyed peas for the first time, and they were on
Oh,
the
wow.
plate with the spinach. And I took my fork, I got a big old slop of spinach, and I put some pinto beans in there, and I ate them together, and it was actually really good. That's the first time. So you have to experiment with what you like, and just experiment. I think that's where we all get where we want, and to be able to do that.
Here's another thing, and I don't know if this would work for you, but me being single, like say there's something I'm unfamiliar with or just trying, like kale. We'll use kale as an example. Um, I don't want to buy a great big thing of kale if might not even eat one leaf of it because I don't like it, right? So you can go to grocery stores or delis where they have prepared salads, and you can just get what you want just to taste it and see.
That's a
Then,
good
if you
idea.
find that you like it, that might not be the most economical way to do it, but at least you're trying. I mean, it's better than buying a whole thing of kale and throwing it in the trash, right?
Yeah,
So it's a way to
true.
taste new foods that, especially if you're single or maybe, just you and your husband or something.
We have that here at ATV where you can go to, there's a section they have, and they already have dinner salads or lunch salads prepared. And it's
Mm-hmm.
got different stuff in it, and then it's got like a little package of a sauce or whatever, but the salads are already pre-made. And
Yeah.
yes, it is a little more expensive, but then I don't have to go buy a whole head of lettuce or a whole this, or and I can buy these, and it does make it easier.
But what I was talking about, and yeah, you can do that. What I was talking about was, when you go to the grocery store and they might have chicken salad or they might have tuna salad or whatever, and you get a scoop or, a tub of it, and you tell them how much you want. That was the kind of salad I'm talking about, not like, a leafy salad. Um, but you could, I mean, if they had kale in a leafy salad, you could try that too. Yeah.
And I think a lot of grocery stores today have those places where you walk through and they have those ladies standing out there where you can experiment with little things,
Samples.
But
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to
samples.
be experimenting with kale.
Probably
So I
not.
don't know. I think
Y-
Sam's Club here has that where you walk through the meat department here, and there at least a lady on every corner with a different type of meat that you can.
Yeah.
She'll
Those
give you a little bite.
a lot of
So,
times those
Douglas,
are
I
from the
have a
frozen
challenge for
foods.
you. I have a challenge for Douglas, Marcia.
Okay.
He just got
Shoot.
an air fryer.
Oh.
So, uh-huh. So, in terms of kale, Imelda, I think that what we need to do is we need to task, no, 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 challenge Douglas to first go get some kale and make some kale, crispy kale in his air fryer. You spray it with the avocado oil and add the Old Bay seasoning to it.
Kale
I know I'm
chips.
making our producer Josh smile, even though he would rather have the chicken wings. You can put it with the chicken wings, that's fine. But then put them in the air fryer and you crisp them up and you have kale chips and they're actually really good. That's how I
Here,
started eating the kale. So,
here's another one. Have you ever seen these?
spinach, what are the ingredients though in it?
That's what I was wondering, especially with this new food pyramid.
Can you
It's
say that
like,
I
again?
think it still has flour.
Oh yeah,
I think it still
mission.
has flour.
and
And
that's
what she
why I
was
was
saying
wondering
is,
when she was said that earlier today. It was like that's what I was wondering because it says it's gluten free.
Usually those, like, if I'm gonna buy something like that, I'll get the strawberry or spinach, or not strawberry. Uh, what are they?
strawberry
Not
wraps.
strawberry. Yeah, the spinach or whatever. But I think that that's a lot of food coloring, probably. Like, I don't know that they're really that much healthier for you, but it's a better if you're
Honestly,
gonna get it anyway. Hmm.
if you're gonna if you're gonna get it, I would actually go onto Amazon and get the turmeric, the coconut wraps with turmeric. There's 3 ingredients. They're all natural. I just had them. I serve it with my dad. We put Thomas would love them. Thomas, I put my salmon salad inside of that wrap. They don't
Oh,
hold up as well as the other ones. So sometimes you have to have a fork with it, but I try to eat it as fast as I can, but
But
that's what I
here's the
do.
point. Here's the point. It's very. Thomas said this earlier. A month ago, this would have been great. Oh yeah, go ahead. It's good for you.
I
But
know.
now they turn the
Ah,
spinach
so
down. They turned it upside
frustrating.
down, and now it's like, oh no, you can't have that now. But a month ago, it would have been, oh yeah, there you go, Doug. You're eating better. But now it's like, nope, sorry, throw that out too.
Yeah, they're saying, but it's always been Whole Foods are better, but you're right. The flowers and things like that, no matter what they are, they're saying, hey, put them at the bottom. But they said in moderation. Okay. They didn't say give up. If you have to have a Dr. Pepper once in a blue moon, have a Dr. Pepper. If you're gonna have a piece of bread, have a piece of bread once in a blue moon. My dad and I have a piece of bread once a week on Saturday where I don't know how many of you have poached eggs, but in my poached egg, I break up the little pieces of bread and I put them in my poached egg. Um, it's from when I was a kid, it's nostalgic. So every Saturday, we have poached eggs with a little piece of bread,
I have
Have
one
you
for
heard?
you.
broken up in it.
Have you guys ever heard of Siete brand foods?
Mm-mm.
They
Oh,
are, you know what? I'm going to send this to you, Kim, and maybe you can, I don't know how to share it with the group. Maybe you could share it, but they're grain free. It's Mexican American, I guess. And I've had them. They have different products. So they'll have like wraps. I just sent it to you, Kim. They'll have wraps, chips, different kinds of Mexican style things. This says it's made with, I don't know how you say it, cassava flour. It's gluten
okay. Yeah, I've
free.
seen those.
And their products are very good. Like, you don't
You
even
know
know
what?
you're kind of getting a healthier variety. Can you share that with the group anyway? I don't know how to do
Yeah,
that.
you can see
Oh,
it. It looks like this. That's as good as I can do right now. But I think it's in the fridge section, but also in there, Dr. Danziger was talking about egg wraps. So you can get egg wraps as well it's usually near the yogurt, butter, milk
right.
section. And it might be worth, checking those out. He's a big proponent. I didn't ask nurse practitioner Deidre. She's a little bit more of a stickler to the functional medicine diet, and everything has to um, add value versus add weight.
But
And so
those egg
she's
wraps,
not about
yeah,
cheating.
you can make them so easily. All it is egg that you can just pour it in a pan so that it's so thin like a wrap. and it's done
Hmm.
almost instantly. It's egg. I mean, you might have to put a little bit of fat in it, but not much. Not much at all. And then you can wrap anything you want in them like it's a tortilla.
It's a little more protein. So Thomas, you might want to
Right.
check that out as well. And Douglas, if you're
What
looking for
what
protein, that's a
about
great option.
eggs? What about eggs?
Well, we've
We
talked
we
about eggs
used to
that are
hear we
really
used to
good.
hear the white, or you have the white with the yellows, or is the yellow better as the egg? At
Well, we've
HEB here,
talked about this before.
you can buy a carton of nothing but the yellows.
Yeah, we don't want to, because I think that also just adds additional calories depending on what your goal is. So it's what your goal, what your nutritionist says. Everyone is going to be different. So you have to, and I think that now is the time that everyone should be talking and saying, hey, to your primary care, with the new food pyramid, I want to have a referral to a nutritionist or a dietitian to make sure that I am following the guidelines and I'm making the right choices for me, for my body, for my presentation of disease. And I think that that's really important. But we're
So I
getting
can
on
meet I can
overtime
meet my
here.
yeah, I can meet my nutritionist at steak and egg for lunch and have a steak now with an egg poached on top of it. Or is that a
Grass
little too
fed,
much?
grass finish. And what did she say? The meat should not,
Be larger
you can
than
have
your
a bigger
hand.
piece than I am, bigger than the palm of your hand. So,
Well,
just take that into
a 6 ounce
consideration.
steak fits on my hand.
A what?
A 6 ounce steak.
You're
Seriously.
very lucky because it won't fit on my little hand.
The, a 6 ounce steak is really not that big though, and by the time you cook it down, it's really only about 4 ounces.
Now we
Good
didn't
cooking.
ask that, did we? Is that before you measured it or after you cook it?
Oh, exactly,
Oh, that
because like
Oh,
that's a
you
good
get a steak,
question, actually. Really good question. We should have asked
because
that. That'll be on the next one. Douglas, write that down. Thomas,
yeah,
write that
because
down.
I think I've been doing stuff wrong. I've been thinking I've been eating 6 ounces of steak, but it's 6 ounces before you cook it.
Oh,
So maybe I should
good
go to a
point.
T-bone steak.
I love you, Thomas.
But
That's a great place
what
to
it is,
end up.
when I do my
Joshua likes that
gym
one.
nutrition, when I do my gym nutrition, I've got all this good. I've learned a lot about foods that I can eat and what I can't eat. What's bad for your body, what's not, and they go by the weight of it before you cook it.
right,
So if it says 6 ounces of lean beef, it's going to be 6 ounces like wet weight, uncooked.
right.
I think when you cook it, it's not 6 ounces anymore. I think it's more like four or something like that.
Wow.
And
Well,
also,
that's a
they forgot to mention that raw beef is not good for you.
Although people eat steak tartare,
I,
I don't. I don't.
no, I can't stand it. See, when people post up steaks, and nothing towards you, Douglas, but most of the people are in Texas, right? And you show them how you like your steak. I like mine medium to well done. I don't mind if it's a little bit pink, but if there's blood oozing out of it, I'm not going to eat that. You know, we
so
we
we do need to do a show that is, on just cooking of the meat and does it make a difference? And I know steaming, and I know that they're not really into the barbecuing, charring. You can barbecue, but don't char it. Um, Roasting, things like that. They've talked about before as being better, but I don't know if the temperature you cook things at makes a difference. So that's something we're going to have to check in, but we have to
right.
sign off
Thomas
here.
is correct. I'm in Texas, and it's usually ordered one or two ways. Just pick it off the road, or wait till the fire burns out.
Yeah, I know because
So
I,
everything
I
in
work
You
between.
guys are hilarious.
I
Oh
worked
my
in a
God.
hotel in Devon, England, and I was living there for a while in the kitchen. And
I
I
love you
would I
guys.
would grill all the steaks and stuff like that on an indoor grill. And a guy come
Guys.
in one day and he asked for a blue steak. And I'm like, what is a blue steak? Well, back then you didn't have Google and crap like that. And I mean, I had to go ask the owner what a blue steak was. He said, come and I'll show you. You put it on the grill one side for 15 seconds, flipped it over, put it on the other side, put it on the plate.
See, that's
And I
my
watched the
dad.
guy
If
eating it,
it's
and
not moving, he won't eat it. Yeah.
it was nasty, you know. But I think beef has to be, what is it, 160 degrees?
Or
The
higher.
full temperature of it when it's
Is
cooked.
160 or higher? Yes.
Right.
Where
And
did
I
you
think
cook?
pork is 180. I think
Where did
pork's
you
180. I'm not sure.
Where did you cook, Thomas?
I cooked in a hotel in England, in the UK.
Oh,
I
We
loved
should
it. I
have
went in there
Thomas doing our
first.
cooking shows.
yeah.
I
Wait
went
a
in there
minute.
first as
Thomas has been holding out on us.
a
Foodie
kitchen help.
Friday, he's cooking. Thomas is
Yeah,
cooking
wait
for
to hear
us.
how I got the position. Wait to hear how I got the position.
Okay.
They had a chef in there, Barry. He was never a chef. And this day I was in there, and he's making apple pie. Well, I know how to make apple pie. You know, I watched my first appearance in that make it. And he's got this cookbook out reading. I was like, Barry, you're a chef. He said, I never said there was a chef. He said, I said there was a cook. He said, I said, what did you do before this? He said, I was a builder's laborer. And I was like, Barry. I said, Barry. Well, anyway, Vic, the owner, he was really cool. I was in the kitchen one day and I was cooking this steak. And right behind me, Victor was there. I didn't realize he was there. And I turned, I jumped. He's like, Thomas, let me check that steak. And he cut it and it was perfect the way they wanted it. And he said, what else can you cook? I said, uh, a lot. I could cook a lot of stuff. You know, I learned to cook when I was at really young age because I lived on my own for so many years and everything else brought myself up. So I got the job in there. First off, it was breakfast shift, doing the breakfast, loads of bacon, eggs, sausage, stuff like that. And then grill chef, which was all the pork, the steaks and stuff like that. And then the only thing I didn't do was the carvery on a Sunday.
What's
I didn't like
Calvary
to
on
be
a
in the
Su-
spotlight of people coming in, you know, slicing up the meat and everything else.
Yeah.
But I would cook it, you know, and I liked it. I enjoyed it, but there wasn't a great lot of money in it. Needless to say, after that, I worked in the bar as well. But no, it was great. I love working in the bar because I didn't drink,
And you get to talk
you
to
know,
people.
and you could see people, you could remind them the next day when they ask you, oh, what happened last night, you know?
That's
Yeah.
So
funny.
you're
I was a bartender too when I was younger.
What?
Uh-huh. I did it
I
for a long
loved it.
time. I made a lot of money too.
Oh,
That's
you
all
do, you
just
do. See the
this.
tips, especially in New Year. In 2003, New Year's Eve, a Hogmanay Day in Scotland. I worked in the bar from 6 till 1 in the morning, and I made £460, which then was roughly about $900 just in tips. And they would have a drink for yourself. Okay, I'll take it for a drink, and I put it in my tip jar because I didn't drink. But yeah, you can make some good money on it, but I wouldn't do it over here.
So this has been an awesome show. And Kim, I swear we really need to think about doing the Friday cooking thing again because
We
it's
do.
all
Eric,
changed now.
I know Chef Eric wants to do it. We have now Thomas that has volunteered to cook for us, right, Thomas?
I never said I'd volunteer. I said I'll think about it.
But we have to end the show portion of this and the broadcast, but we can stay. So those of you who are in our live in studio audience, You can stay and chat at it. And if you want to be a part of our live studio audience and have some fun here, info at padhelp.org. Go ahead and send us an email and say you want to be in the live studio audience. And it's every single week, same bat time, same bat channel. And we're here, or you could just stay on YouTube. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, youtube.com/the @ the way to my heart. It's great. We have great content every single week. Saturday, we're going to talk about being a pain in the yeah, we're talking about hemorrhoids. It is a vascular issue, and there are easy, minimally invasive solutions so you don't have to suffer. So make sure to subscribe to our channel, and you'll get to watch that and participate and ask questions of some really great, a great GI doctor and a great vascular specialist as well. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. Those of you in studio, stick around, but we're going to end the broadcast. Thanks to Joshua, our producer, for making it possible. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye.